give you guys a little insight into the format for this evening. We're going to have the candidates lined up, as you see, in alphabetical order. We'll have 2 minutes for each candidate to provide welcoming remarks. At the end of the night, we will also have 1 minute for concluding remarks from each candidate. In between now and 8:30, we'll have questions submitted to myself from our scrutineer. We'll ask the questions. Each candidate will be given 30 seconds to answer each question. There will be no rebuttals. There will be no talking back and forth between them. So as far as the order of answering the questions, to try to mix things up a little bit, the first question will begin with candidate number 1, Sheryl Armstrong, alphabetical. The second question will begin with candidate number 3, then 5, 7, 9, and so on down the line. And we'll just move down the line with the questions. In between questions, I will not be introducing each speaker. So when the time is up, I'll simply say next, and the next speaker in line can begin answering. I will introduce each candidate before their opening remarks, which we will get into now, and we'll begin this evening, 2 minutes each. We'll start with Sheryl Armstrong.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheryl Armstrong. I'm a retired RCMP officer, having served almost 36 years. I chose Nanaimo to be my retirement home. I was fortunate to come here in 2010 in charge of community policing. I spent many days working in the community. I worked with the Safer Nanaimo community. I've worked in the fentanyl overdose working group recently, which was just drafted up by Dr. Hasselback. I'm very interested in politics, I always have been, but when you're a member of the RCMP, you can't be into politics unless you take a leave of absence. I was talking with a senior politician who said to me, you know, you're not really cut out for federal or provincial politics. He says, I can see you in municipal politics where you can make a difference. So that's one of the reasons I'm running, is I do believe I can make a difference. I can show that I have leadership, which I've shown throughout my years with the RCMP. I think working on major crimes is very similar to working in the community and making decisions. You have to look at all the facts. No, I'm serious. You got to look at all the facts, right? When you do a good investigation, you're looking at the facts not only for the victim, but for the accused. You're bringing all the facts together, and then an informed decision is made as to whether there's enough for a charge. And in this case, is the decision I'm going to make, is it fiscally responsible? Does it meet the community charter? Does it meet the official community plan? We need to look at all that when we make these decisions. In order to do that, you need to be informed. Obviously, you have staff that gives you information, so when you're getting that information, you must read it. If I have questions, I need to either ask staff for clarification, or one of the things that I think that we're missing out on here is we've got a great number of retired people here that bring a lot of stuff to the table, as well as people from VIU. I would like to have a forum where I can put those questions out there. What are your ideas on this? Can you please give me some feedback? I need help. Because you can't make the decisions in isolation. You need to make an informed decision. I had my orange flag, so thank you very much, and that's just a little bit about me.
Thank you, Sheryl. Brunie.
Hi, people of Nanaimo. Well, I'm really glad to see so many of you come out. Like, this is a political town. And I am Brunie. I'm the little turtle that keeps on running. I am dedicated to making Nanaimo the cleanest, greenest, happiest city on the planet. Yes, we can grow food big time in high-tech super solar greenhouses, feeding the whole community. Your smarty smart cell phones, you just can't eat them. And we would create so many jobs in technology, farm labor jobs. It would go into restaurants. Nanaimo would be the #1 healthy tourist destination. We can do that, and it's time to do that. And you know, 80% of our food comes from off-island. If the ferries stop, we're all going to starve. And it's not smart to not grow our own food. Oh, where are we? And it's time to move towards a carless, environmentally friendly travel options, cycling, skateboarding. Just think, the people from the world would come to Nanaimo to skateboard and eat organic French fries. Whoa. And you know, we need homes, and I believe Nanaimo can be a leader in affordable home ownership projects, incorporating young people and old people together without clear-cutting all the trees. for housing development. Did you know that Nanaimo is the largest overwintering bird estuary in Canada? In Canada, we live in a special place, and our community is not so big that we can't get to know each other. So all the technology to make a better plan is here. Let's just do it.
Thank you, Brunie. We'll move on to Sacia Burton.
All right, that's a tough act to follow. I wish everyone brought that much energy and enthusiasm to municipal politics. Thanks, Brunie. So, my name's Sacia Burton, and I'm excited to be here today on traditional unceded Nanaimo territory. I think that's important to acknowledge. I've been very fortunate to live and work and play here for the last 6 years. I'm originally from the East Coast, from Prince Edward Island, so an island girl through and through, and I'm excited to put down roots here in Nanaimo. I graduated from Vancouver Island University in 2016 with politics and philosophy, so many people have come up so far and asked me, well, do you think you have the experience? I think I do. I have studied politics, I've studied philosophy, I bring a critical and thoughtful mind to the table. I have the experience both on the political and provincial level to work with partnerships, and I'm really excited to continue to make those partnerships happen both at the community level and across our province and into our federal level. I'm really excited to hear what the other candidates have to say, so I'll pass the mic because I know we've got a lot of good answers to come up. So thanks so much for everyone to come out tonight, and thank you all, and thanks to the candidates.
Thank you, Sacia. Leon Cake.
Thank you. It's nice to see such a diversified group. My name is Leon Cake. I've lived in Nanaimo for 60 years. I grew up in Harewood. I have a wife that I've been with since she was 16 and I was 17. I have 4 granddaughters and I have 3 children. I've been involved in Nanaimo's community now for many, many years. Politically, at the council meetings, standing up for certain things I believe that needed someone to stand up for them. One was the dams. I stood up for 3 years, made sure that that the removal never happened. The remediation was one thing, but the removal would have been a bigger thing. I have a passion for Nanaimo. I'm involved in this community. I've been a coach for many, many of your children, which I see them all the time in their 30s, and they've grown up with their families. So running for council is important to me to make sure we keep a foundation for them to be able to stay here, be able to live here. I recognize some of the issues that we're having right now, the problems we're having downtown. I serve at the 710. I understand mental health. I understand addiction. At the same time, I also understand growth and the direction of the city. And I really believe it's important that you, as a council member, that you understand the process of what you're doing. You have to read your document. You have to digest it. You have to understand it. And if you don't vote on it. You go and find the ability to get an answer or get a clear perspective on what you're doing. So as a person in the community, I have a passion for Nanaimo. A lot of people know that. As a businessman with my wife, our business is 21 years. We're very giving to the community of Nanaimo, and I want to give I'm 62 years old. I want to give a year and a half of my life, roll my sleeves up, get involved with the council, help with the situation we have in the city, all things. And I thank you very much for coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. Kevin Cantelon.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. My name is Kevin Cantelon. I'm running for City Council. I grew up in Nanaimo. I went to high school here, graduated back in 1988. Used to play football here for the local team, the Redmen, as they were then. I did my first year university at VIU. It was Malaspina College then, before going on to do my bachelor's degree at UVic and a law degree at UBC. I practiced law in downtown Vancouver for a little over 10 years before coming here to the island with my wife in 2009 for the birth of our daughter in 2010. We live here now, and she goes to one of the local elementary schools. At the start of last year, I gave up the practice of law A lot of people ask me why I did that. The simple reason was I did not have enough clients. As one of my colleagues put it, my wife was supporting an expensive law habit. I found I got not just more money, but more satisfaction doing what I do now, which is as a freelance fundraising consultant for local charities. I ran last general election, and I was asked then, and I'm asked now, why are you running for city council? And my answer always is that I think my training and experience gives me the kind of professionalism that is sorely needed downtown. I think that need is all the more evident now. I have the experience and ability, first of all, to maintain professional decorum at all times, and I think that's something that's needed to ensure a return to civility and functionality downtown. And I've had an orange flag, so I'll wind it up, and here comes my mandatory applause.
Thank you, Kevin. Jim Mercier.
Good evening. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I've been a member of this community for 9 years. I moved here to open up the Boston Pizza after it closed and establish that. I was supposed to be here for 6 months, and once I'd moved to Nanaimo for that period, I decided it was a community that I wasn't ready to leave. It was going to be part of my community, and I plan to spend the rest of my life here. It's been coming on 9 years now, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. I've gotten involved in the community, and I've followed the antics and the politics that we currently have on our council, and I've wanted to be part of that, to see if we can offer something up to the community of Nanaimo from a professional business-minded perspective, and this is where I want to go forward with the council here. Sadly, we're in a by-election, and to replace Councillor Pratt, who's forced to step down still for some unknown reasons, and I think we've all witnessed what's been happening on council. We have several issues throughout the 3 years. It's been a disgrace. Our mayor's threatened with legal actions. Our council behaviors are into shameful spots on our national stage, and they continue to create constant media attention for us. And this isn't the way that I see our community developing and progressing. I think that it has so much to offer, and I want to be part of that.
Thank you very much, Jim. Do we have the right order down there? All right, we'll go with that. Noah Routley? That's what I have on my list. Okay, all right. We'll go with Alexis Middleton then.
Okay. Good evening. I am Alexis Taylor Middleton. I wish to acknowledge the Nanaimo First Nations, whose traditional lands that we live and work on in Nanaimo. I also give thanks to the Nanaimo Chamber of Commerce for organizing this all-candidate event. To the Nanaimo citizens and the candidates on stage with me, thank you as well for being here. There has been a serious negative impact on Nanaimo's image as a prosperous and healthy community. Disruption of leadership at City Council has resulted in community unrest and disappointment and loss of trust. However, this is not the time for complacency. This is a time for action. A proactive, dedicated, and values-led leadership. This is what I offer you. This is what I offer Nanaimo, and this is what I stand for going to City Council. I am someone who will walk the talk on city initiatives. I have the ability to listen to ideas and concerns, being mindful at all times as to what City Council is here to do, and that is implement good, sound governance. I am tenacious, I am thorough and fair. I am a very motivated and earnest individual living by a moral code. I am here because I have children and understand how our city depends on our children and their future and upward mobility. If they make Nanaimo their future, we have a future. I have personally spoken with and listened to groups of concerned citizens and individuals in our community and many of our community leaders. I am strongly motivated to be a member of this council. All of us in this community deserve an individual who's going to take initiative while at the same time being mindful being a member of this council is not a unilateral venture, but as a collective. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. Noah Routley.
Hello, my name is Noah Routley, and first I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional territory of the Nanaimo people. I want to just thank the Chamber. The fact that we have 13 candidates here says a lot, and I want to thank the other candidates and just really acknowledge the hard work it takes putting together a campaign. Especially I want to thank Nanaimo. Nanaimo elected me as one of your school trustees in 2014. And I'll be continuing in that role till the end of 2018 because I definitely don't want to see a by-election. I don't want to see that money spent, that public dollar spent. Ever since I was little, I had a heart for helping people. My counselors at school would ask me, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I constantly said, "I don't know, help people." I got my Bachelor of Science in Psychology. I started off working in group homes, getting counseling expertise, and working at addictions facilities, working in mental health, running a mental health program, and ultimately running a group home. I love Nanaimo. I started loving Nanaimo back when I went to Malaspina, and I chose to raise my children here. And just that deep love of Nanaimo, the two things I want to bring to council, if you guys elect me, is first, integrity. Every one of my campaign promises I made in 2014, I've stood by. I've had those campaign promises placed in front of me, and you know, it was great. My reaction was, I've done all that. And the other thing is listening to the public. The public needs to be heard, and I want to create forums for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Fred Statham.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fred Statham. I'm 55 years old. I'm currently an outreach and on-call support worker for Carmichael Enterprises. I was born and raised in Powell River, British Columbia, graduated from high school in 1979, graduated from UBC in 1989, and also got my fifth-year diploma in guidance studies in 2000, also from UBC. I fell in love with my wife in Nanaimo in the summer of '92. 25 years later, I live 4 blocks away from 4 of my grandchildren. The title of this campaign is the Grand Campaign because I want to help make Nanaimo a sustainable and prosperous city for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. To do that, we first need to solve a problem that has plagued Nanaimo for 20 years, low-income housing. Secondly, we have to solve a crisis that has affected Nanaimo for the past 20 months, the fentanyl crisis. Nanaimo needs a housing-first policy. I would like to bring Ted Klugson, the mayor of Medicine Hat, Alberta, to tour Nanaimo, then have a town hall meeting to give us suggestions on how we can implement a successful housing-first policy, like he and his council did 8 years ago. A solution that I have to the fentanyl crisis is to have 2 safe injection sites, one beside the police station and another beside the hospital. Also possibly a mobile safe injection site. For a prosperous Nanaimo, we need to develop number 1 Port Drive in a smaller manner to Granville Island. The potential for economic development in our front is excellent. On July 8th, please vote for the 9th person on the ballot, Fred Statham.
Thank you, Fred. Kevin Storrie.
Thank you, Dominic. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. This is great. I love democracy in action. I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event, and I'd like to thank the candidates for putting their names forward. I'm going to deviate. I'll blow my own horn later. Right now, I'd like to share with you a vision that I have for our downtown waterfront. I would like to see us develop that in conjunction with the Nanaimo First Nations for the people of Nanaimo. We did this in 1972 when I stood up and demanded that we protect Maffeo Sutton. I'm doing the same thing now. I can see natural amphitheaters down there, artist studios, the Living Ocean Center, a lot of green space, boutique shops, and artist displays, studios. An ongoing live archaeological dig would be a tremendous draw. So I'd like to share a vision with you folks. 10 years from now, when you get up on a Saturday morning and you've got your kids there, or your wife or your husband, and you can say, kids or honey, why don't we go downtown and take part in what's going on down on the waterfront? Maybe we'll have a sandwich, maybe we'll see a play or a dance or an act. The kids can kick the ball around, and we'll really have a good day. Or the other option is, let's go down and look at the high-rise concrete buildings, because that is the option that's being offered to us. There seems to be a move afoot on council and the administration to build some large legacy project, and I'm totally against it. So that is my vision. That is why I'm running. I'm running for you, folks. I'm not running for me. I'll talk about me later. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Al Thompson.
Howdy, folks. You notice they always leave the best for the last? Anyway, my name is Al Thompson. I obviously live here in Nanaimo. Some of you may remember back in 2014, I ran for the mayor position. You also may notice I didn't win that one either. But we had a lot of fun trying. Who am I? Well, I'm an ordinary everyday citizen, just like every one of you. My background is working, a licensed mechanic. I'm a trucker for over 40 years, own my own business. I'm a consultant for a business right now. We won't talk about that part. But I do everyday average things just like everybody else. I'm not going to promise anybody in this building that I'm going to be the savior to the city council. I get along with most people as long as they don't me off. But I get by with everybody. Hopefully I can bring some stability to the present council. Don't forget, everybody, this is a 16th month job, okay? Everybody up here is applying for a job that's going to last exactly 16 months. And 90,000 people get to yell and scream at you. Then it pays about 50 grand over the 16-month term. If you really think about it, that ain't that great a deal. It's a part-time job, or it's supposed to be, but it turns out to be a full-time job because you have to answer to every citizen within Nanaimo. I can do that. I'm retired, okay? Even though I consult on the side for different things. And basically, I want to help. I believe in Nanaimo. I think we have the best city in the whole world. There's a lot of things we do need. I got you on your flag. And I'm out of here, folks. Remember, Al's your guy.
Thank you very much to the candidates for the opening remarks. We'll now move into the question part of the evening. Again, we will go until about 8:30, at which time we'll move into concluding remarks from each of the candidates. Just a reminder, we will start the first question answered by candidate number 1, alphabetical order, and it'll just move down the line. Second question will begin with candidate number 3, down the line, and so on. 30 seconds for each candidate for each question. These have been submitted through the community, through our scrutineer, and then on to myself. We'll begin with the first question. And if, again, I will not say your name, I'll just say next and just move down the line. What can you, as one voice on council, do to help facilitate a more respectful, responsible council if you are elected?
First thing I do is I be respectful myself. If somebody's speaking to me in a respectful manner, I put up my hand and say, that's enough. If they want to continue, I'm going to let them continue. I don't have to have the last word. I will then speak to that individual in private. I don't believe that we should be getting into a screaming match in council. I will make sure that I do address it, and I won't let it go. I would also say that if I see this happening to somebody else, I would say that's enough. If they continue, again, it's up to the electorate, the next election, to decide where they want to go. Thank you.
Next.
I have no quarrel with anyone on council, and I believe in positivity. Being angry and just acting like a child is really a waste of time and doesn't get us anywhere. So if they all just start arguing, I will just continue on my way and keep working on the things that I'm working on, like growing food big time for the city of Nanaimo.
Next.
All right, I think that at the end of the day, it's important for elected officials to remember who it is that we work for, which is you. So we're not there to put our own agendas or ideas or opinions forward. We're here to bring your ideas and to bring them in a critical and thoughtful manner. And so that's what I would hope to do.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. As a coach of many years in Nanaimo, I think leadership comes from the ability to deal with situations when they get real rough and things are getting down. And I think on council, my ability is to bring people together and look at the situation and lead by example. And I think that's what's important in communicating people's feelings, people's abilities, and people's respects. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I have 17 years as a lawyer working in contentious, toxic environments and achieving a consensus. The first thing you have to do is you have to maintain professional decorum. Act like a counselor at all times. Treat the other counselors like counselors no matter what they do. You have to read and understand the materials so you know the issues are in front of you and you can speak intelligently about them. Lastly, the rules of procedure have to be enforced in council. Those rules are there for a reason, to reach consensus in a contentious issue, and they have been ignored. I'm not afraid to stand up and see that they're enforced.
Thank you. Next.
I've worked on a number of boards over the years, partnerships, business engagements, had employees, upwards of 127 employees at any one time. Communication is essential, and a diverse means of communication is essential in every different aspect. The key element in any communication is respect, and to show respect and follow through with it. Come prepared. That's the biggest thing, too, for their council. Come prepared for good debate and present yourself well and ensure that your fellow members are prepared.
Thank you. Next.
To facilitate harmony when there's discord, it involves having a mindfulness to what's happening. It involves, at times, having conversations that are behind the closed doors and not in a way to insinuate or point fingers. Communication is absolutely imperative. I was a co-business owner for 20 years. Talking is absolutely everything. Thank you.
As a counselor by trade, listening is part of what I do. And as a school trustee, I've actually had 3 years of discord and within the board and haven't been caught up in it. The reason why is I speak to the issue and I don't speak to the other person's intent, and I stand up for Robert's Rules of Order and I call other people on their disrespect. Thank you.
For 35 years, I've worked in the helping profession as a teacher and foster care and a community support worker, and I've developed some key skills that are helpful on council: team player, collaboration, and liaison. And I just think that when you model those things, especially those three key skills, you're going to get along and you're going to get things done.
Well, folks, I happen to have sat on a city council for 4 years, and I sat on a city council that was respectful of each other and the public, and I will bring that to this council table. I have the experience in doing that, and I will insist that proper procedure be followed. I will open an office on day one that I'm elected that any one of you can come and talk to me. Full-time basis, that is a commitment I've made.
Bring respectability? Well, I guess that'd be, I'm just going to be me. I give respect to everybody, and I demand that I get respect back. It's plain and simple. When we go to work as city councilors, when we're on the clock, we do work. We don't fight, we don't argue, we don't do anything. If you want to fight and argue, plain and simple, go down to the Queen's afterwards, get drunk, kick the shit out of each other. It doesn't matter. But when you're on the job, you do the damn job. There is no such thing as fighting and arguing on the job.
Thank you. I would say keep the language family friendly, but the crowd seemed to enjoy it. So, question number 2 will begin with Sacia Burton. Please name at least 2 specific methods that you would use to stay connected with the broad Nanaimo community, not just people who are like-minded to yourself.
All right. I've had great success so far in connecting with people on social media. I know that many of the people in this room are a part of Facebook groups like Nanaimo Politics and A Better Nanaimo, and I've seen so many conversations flourish in those arenas, and I'm really excited to continue to participate in those. I'm also excited to just go out and knock on doors and connect with people one-on-one. So getting out there and talking to people both online and in person, I think, are 2 really important strategies to stay connected and make sure I'm listening to you.
I'm very heavily connected to the community at this time for many, many years. I'm chair of Kids Sport Nanaimo, and I started an organization 2 years ago called Street Store, where I gather up all the clothing and I take it to the homeless and those people that need the clothing and give it away for free, set up a shop and give it to them. I also connect with people that are able to give me those clothes and understand why they're giving up those clothes to help other people, and I think that's what's important, is that we all help each other rather than just walk away from each other.
I'm very glad I'm able to be one of the early candidates to answer this question, because I think a lot of us might be repeating ourselves and coming up with the same 2 things. So I'm glad I'm only the first person who's going to copy Sacia and say that absolutely social media is one of the elements of staying in touch with people and staying in touch with the electorate. The other is being active in the community, being out there, talking to people, getting their viewpoints. I think if we had been getting that from our existing council, we would not have gone through a wasted referendum.
I think we have some good processes already in place, but they can be definitely improved. We got the community consultation and the engagement that's with that. I think the key thing is to listen to that community consultation, to take that back to the public and follow through on what's been provided. I think there's been a lack of that in our community, and I think that definitely we need a better follow through. I'll make myself available to the community consistently. I'm in a public restaurant, I'm there daily, and I'll always be available to sit down with my constituents at any time to have coffee and discuss those issues.
And staying connected with community, yes, social media, of course. It's one of the ways that a lot of you, I believe, also arrived here. And also, I believe that community engagement, that can include anything from having a little box that somebody can come and put information in. You can also go out, have public forums, conversations, whether it's on the phone. I know you only asked for 2, but there's lots of ways to access. Thank you.
I would say right now my business card as school trustee has my cell phone number on it. Facebook, email, to be available to the public, to be the public voice is, I think, the most important job of a public servant. And what I would do as far as changes is I would change the way the open meetings work, give the public more time to actually hear about the meetings, time to respond, and
yes, social media is important, and I have my own political site as well. But I operate on an open door policy, so wherever I am, that's my office, and I'm willing to talk to anybody on the issues that matter to them, and how we can find out what solutions that we can work on to solve the problems to the issues that they need solved.
Well, folks, I've already mentioned that I would have an office for you to drop by. I'll also commit to you that I will answer any emails within 48 hours. Or you can pick up the 5,000-pound phone and you can call me. And secondly, I prefer face-to-face over text. Texts are so impersonal. Folks, I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to carry out your wishes. Give me the chance. Let's get it done.
How will I stay connected? Well, phone me, message me, buy me breakfast in the morning. I like that about 9:30, okay? So, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm easy to spot. Usually I wear this here hat, but lately people have been telling me I look like Freddy Krueger when I wear it, so I didn't wear it tonight. Thanks, folks.
Sorry. Social media, definitely you need to have a presence on social media, whether it be, you need Twitter, you need Facebook, you need different pages there as well. I also agree with Noah Routley. I think community engagement starts at council. I think you have to have the open camera meetings. I think that's very critical. There are 4 times that you go to close, the other 15 are optional. I think that we really need to keep community engagement by being open about our decisions and how we got there. Thank you.
What I really like about being Brunie is that my name is embedded into this town. People see me every day. I know just about all the businesses downtown, and people talk to me. People on the street talk to me. Homeless people talk to me. Bankers talk to me. Librarians talk to me, and I hear the most incredible things, and that is sociology in action, and it makes me feel like I'm at home.
Question number 3 will begin with Kevin Cantelon. I live in South Nanaimo, which has no facilities for seniors. Would you support improvements to busing, a sidewalk on Mackey Road, an outreach library, and a recreation center?
Well, I do support improvement to busing. A lot has to be done in that regard. A lot of this has been dealt with, and the much forgotten, in my opinion, official community plan, which would do a lot to meet those concerns insofar as putting transit in place, making sure it's not necessary by seeing that South Nanaimo has all those facilities available. This would include a library and outreach. At this point, I'm afraid I'm not going to recommend.
I would support enhancing our busing system. I have a number of staff members that work for us that have challenges with hours that they can work, hours that they can get home. It does present difficulties for them for their work. I think any growing community has to be able to enhance the transit system, and I think this is a community that's in need of that.
Yes, absolutely. I believe in the neighborhood plan, and a big part of that is involving making sure that the residents have what they need. And if a need involves facilities for seniors, then by golly, let's make it happen. Thank you.
As an employment specialist with folks with diverse abilities, access, sidewalks, buses that actually run early in the morning, late at night, and especially from the outskirts of town, definitely is an issue that's high on my list because I believe in people, I believe in inclusiveness, and I think those that are seniors, those with disabilities, they deserve to be part of our society, and we need to support that.
Well, yeah, I obviously agree with all of those things that are needed in the South End. South End continues to be a community that seems to be neglected, and I will make South End a real priority. I have a real affinity with the South End, and yeah, it's important.
In case any of you didn't notice, I'm a senior myself. I fully support the Senior Connect program, and part of that is improved transportation facilities and increased recreational facilities. The sidewalk system as a whole in this town is hopelessly behind, and we need to bring it up to scale to have mobility not only for seniors, but for every citizen in our community. So I make that commitment to you. I'll work on that sidewalks when I'm elected. Thank you.
Well, I didn't actually hear the damn question because I'm pretty deaf, okay? But from what the other folks are saying, we're talking about a rec center, South End. Yeah, we need one. Sidewalks, definitely. I got a sidewalk out in front of my house, which is a white line. You can't see the white line because they dug the damn thing up and put in a sewer line, never finished. Anyway, he gave me the flag. Thank you, sir.
First of all, I would support a senior center. However, that comes with a caveat. We have to see what capital expenditures we have on our plate right now. We can't just keep building stuff for the sake of building. We have to see where does it fall in with the community plan. Is it there? As for the transit system, what a lot of people don't realize is the RDN is responsible for the transit here. We sit on the RDN board, and also it's BC Transit. So perhaps it's time that maybe we start looking at a possible Nanaimo system similar to what West Van does with their bus line. Thank you.
I'm a senior. I'm 75 years old. Oh, young, I mean. And we've really got to move things forward from our wonderful waterfront where we can go through to a public square down where the library is, just to socialize and have places where you can sit down, and go all the way up to the top to the city quarter. It would be just fantastic. You could have a really nice walk and sit down when you get tired. And yes, we need to move forward with buses, some shelters, and a really good bus stop where you can have sandwiches and coffee and tea and socialize.
Yes, I would like to acknowledge that I also live in Harewood, and I very much am in favor of more sidewalks. I live on 5th Street, and there's only one sidewalk. Tricky. I think it's important to establish safe transit hubs. Like Sheryl mentioned, we're not exactly in control of the transit hours, but we can work with the RDN and we can work with the province to make that happen. And I absolutely think that we should have places that people can gather in the places where they live and not have to go across the community to make those connections happen.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. I'd like to consult the senior citizens. I'll be one day, so I want to make sure that there's activities for me at the same time for the senior citizens. Libraries, to me, are very important. As a grandparent, the fact that I can take my grandchildren to the library and start building a process where they learn and they read, I think that's a very, very important thing. The bus services, yes, we need to look at that and improve it. And thank you.
All right, question number 4. We'll begin this one with Alexis Middleton. While many issues have been discussed in this campaign, there has so far been little discussion of taxes or fees. What do you think would justify an increase in municipal taxes and fees above the rate of inflation?
That's a very good question. What will justify taxes and fees? This is something that would involve taking a look at what the needs are right now and what is going to be moving forward. Taxes and fees, we're already pretty taxed out. If we're going to have to raise fees, we need to look at what are the needs of each particular jurisdiction and go accordingly, and who can actually afford those particular taxes, those tax increases. Thank you.
I truly believe that we actually need to hear from the public, that we have a lot of priorities, like we're hearing some tonight. There's a lot of infrastructure changes that we're moving forward on. There's affordable housing, which is actually a provincial initiative. But what we need to do is ask the public, consult the public, have real dialogue. What are your priorities? That's what I believe.
For me, this is a very simple answer to this question. It's education. After the 16 years of what British Columbia has experienced, even with the money that's going to be coming in the new government, we're going to need more money.
Folks, right now, what would justify an increase in taxation above inflation? Nothing. Not a thing. My Scottish blood is showing. Not a dime without debate was said many years ago, and I firmly believe in that. If it's justified within the community, yes. If you approve it, yes. If not, no tax increases above inflation, period.
Personally, I don't believe we should have any increase in taxes from now until damn knows when. We're overtaxed as it is. No, let's quit wasting money, and therefore we don't have to raise taxes. We just bought a whole mess of damn garbage trucks, laid off a whole bunch of people out of work, and our taxes went up because we have new automated garbage system. Isn't that swell? Stop the waste. No more tax raises.
First of all, you have to look at your priorities from the city for infrastructure. We know that we have to build a new fire hall. We know that the police station is too small. There was a needs assessment done. It was supposed to expand in 2012. We know we've got CUPE contracts coming up. We have to see what the arbitrators are doing in other communities, because invariably our arbitrators will side with them. So we need to be prepared for salary dollar increases. So would I like to keep the tax base down? Yes, I would. Is it a possibility? I don't know right now, because we have to see where that's going to take us with the needed infrastructure and the salary dollars, which make up 40%. Thank you.
We waste a lot of money in many, many ways. I hear us doing surveys and studies instead of really moving forward. We know we live in a time of high technology, and we know what is the best right thing to do. And if we really put our heads together, we can make this city just a wonderful, wonderful city. And more important than anything else is we have to grow food. Otherwise, we are not going to survive into the new age.
If we're raising fees, we need to make sure that the services that are being provided actually benefit the people that are paying those fees. So if we're putting money into public transit, we need to make sure that that's actually a feasible thing. I mean, how many people here drove a car here today? Raise your hand. That's a lot of people. How many people would have used transit if they could have? Okay, well, it could be better, but if we're reducing the cost of personal vehicles and putting that money into public transit, we could have better options.
Thank you. I'm an asset management type person, so I look at making sure that we protect our infrastructure, we make sure we maintain it, we replace it, we do due diligence on our reports when they say we should be doing this and this. To raise taxes just because we are increasing our spending is one thing, but we also have to manage what we're doing when we increase that tax. Is it because we've let it dilapidate and fall down? And the reason why we have to raise the tax is because of it. I think it's important we watch our spending.
Increasing taxes ahead of inflation is very difficult to justify. If the city's doing its job right, it should know what its infrastructure and overhead expenses are years and years in advance. I can only see it being justified if the city is providing a new service it hasn't provided before, if an existing service becomes more expensive because of some change in the way the service is delivered, or in the event of some sort of emergency which causes a sudden increase in spending.
For me, it's about fiscal responsibility. I can't see raising taxes or justifying the raise of taxes if we haven't adhered to our corporate strategic plan that we have in place. The current budget's already set. Next year's budget is dedicated by a 5-year plan. And personally, I think that councillors within our city have to be held accountable for the decisions they make on individual budgets. Coming up with event center plans that weren't part of our corporate strategic plan or a core review out of left field are not part of it, and these are the reasons we end up in these situations.
Question number 5 will begin with Fred Statham. On January 25th, 2016, Council considered the consultant report and recommendations from the Core Services Review, which was deemed as a top Council priority. During the course of discussion and debate, it became clear that some Council members had not completely reviewed the report. Is it appropriate, as a representative of the citizens of Nanaimo, to vote on an issue without having completely reviewed the material? How would you personally have dealt with this item if you had not had the time to complete your review of the material provided? So again, the 2 questions related to the core review. Is it appropriate for an elected representative to not have completely reviewed the material, and how would you have dealt with your vote had you not had time to be completely prepared?
Well, honesty is the best policy, and if I had not actually done my homework, I would have not voted. I would have also explained why I did not do the homework, but obviously there's have a valid reason. I would give that valid reason, and obviously I would not vote. But I don't foresee that happening with me. I'm a very hard worker, and it won't happen.
Well, I believe in being totally prepared. I was at the committee of the whole meeting last night, and it was a disaster because half of council wasn't prepared to discuss what was on the agenda. Now, talking about the core review, if I had been there and I hadn't reviewed it, I would simply say to council, I haven't reviewed it. Can we take another week and give me some time to look at it? What's the rush?
How would I handle something like that? Well, I would ask for a postponement or something, give me time to read up on it. I don't think we should vote on something we don't understand. If I don't understand the issue, I'm going to ask questions. If I need time to do that, I will ask for a vote in a later time. Thank you.
Other than illness or possibly a death, it's your job to be prepared. Like, I can't understand why somebody wouldn't be prepared unless something like that happened. When you're voting on something that's got a lot of impact on a community, you need to be prepared. If I had a logical reason as to why I wasn't prepared, I would ask for an adjournment so we could take it up at another meeting. Or if not, if it wasn't agreeable, I'd have to abstain from the vote.
Being your counselor is a very, very important job, and you have 13 people to choose from, 13 people to do the right thing for you. And it's important that, of course, you should be informed and really step out of the circle and do something new and innovative for this great city of ours.
I think Sheryl's right. If you don't come to a meeting prepared as an elected official, then you're not doing your job. I would not be afraid to ask questions at a meeting, whether I had done the read the material or not. Obviously, I would have, but I think it's still important to ask questions and to commit to work with staff to make sure that you have all the answers that you need when you're going into a council meeting.
Well, if anybody knows me, they know me as a process person. I never not come prepared. I've been reading council agendas for many, many years, pointing out things. I read 61 reports on our dams alone, be able to challenge the provincial government, knew more than they did. A lawyer does not get prepared. So if you're not going to do the job at council by being prepared, you'll make the wrong decision. It'll cost us money. So be prepared.
As a lawyer, it was inconceivable for me to step into a courtroom or into a council meeting without having thoroughly read and understood all of the materials in front of me. And you have my pledge that if I am elected, I will never go to a council meeting without having read all the materials. If that had ever happened to me, well, I would tell them I hadn't, because I can promise you I would have a phenomenal excuse for why I had come there without having read the materials.
We've all witnessed it with our current council and past issues that have come before them. And of course, we all know that it's not appropriate. And I don't believe any one of us would want to be in that situation where they'd show up before a meeting like that. I wouldn't. I'd adjourn myself if I wasn't prepared. But first of all, I would be prepared. Nobody negotiates a deal. Nobody goes into business. It doesn't come to that deal and that event prepared. It's the proper way of doing business.
As an elected official, it's absolutely imperative to come prepared, especially involving a core services review. If you do not understand the information, then inquire beforehand. Absolutely, I would have myself or the individual adjourn or abstain from the voting process. Absolutely. Thank you.
I would say the question in the hypothetical situation was no, the person should not vote. I would abstain, but I agree. When I come to a school board meeting, I'm prepared. I've read the agenda. If I'm elected as your city councillor, I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be staying up till 1, 2 in the morning if I have to read that agenda to make sure that it's top of my mind. It's a full-time job.
Question number 6 will begin with Al. What is your stance on rezoning the Lindley Valley Ridge property from AR2 to R10, considering the increased traffic the subdivision will add to Lost Lake Road?
In all honesty, folks, I really don't know that much about the Lynn Valley. I've been out there a time or two, but I can't comment to make anything intelligent out of it, okay? Anything I say would just be bullshit. So I can't really make an honest statement on it.
I was asked this question earlier myself, and I'm actually going to the open house Thursday, so right now I'm not in a position to comment a lot on it. I do believe anytime you change zoning, you have to look at very carefully the reasons why. I believe in that area, my understanding, it's ecologically, there's some concerns in there, so those need to be addressed before anything gets done. I can state that because I believe that's important. But prior to me making any of the further comments, I need to know a lot more about it, the impact. I'd like to see the plan that the developer's got. I need to know more about what he's doing. Thank you.
I stood in front of a bulldozer in Lindley Valley, and you know what? I will do it again. And in case you don't know, Lindley Valley is the most incredible, super place ever. It is a phenomenal place. There is vegetation growing there that is unrecorded. It could be a place where scientists of the world could come. All the birds in Canada overwinter there. Please, please do not destroy this precious place.
I too have more to learn about the Lindley Valley development. I will also be attending the meeting on Thursday. It's at Oliver Woods in case anyone else wants to attend. I think at 6 p.m. I do know that it's an ecologically sensitive area, and I think that it's incredibly important and necessary to preserve green space in our community. And I think that if any development is going to happen in this part of our community, that has to be taken into account.
The Lindley Valley's on fire with development. I'm a big supplier up there. The biggest concern I got is the green space, but the bigger concern I have is that we're closing the Rutherford School, and we're going to put kids on Ham Bay Road, and if Lindley Valley is only going to add to that catchment, and it's from sidewalk to sidewalk, it's 2.7 kilometers. When you walk out the front door of Rutherford Road School and you go down to the school at Frank J. Ney, those kids will walk 2.7 kilometers. Add in Lindley Valley, it'll be like a march every morning for parents and kids. Not good.
AR2 land is land that's been put in the urban reserve. Now, I hate to be the guy that keeps going back to the official community plan, but a lot of work and a lot of consultation with all stakeholders went into that. Under the official community plan, land that is put into that land reserve is not supposed to be taken out of the urban reserve until there is a neighborhood or area plan in place. There is not a neighborhood plan in place for Lindley Valley. They need to go through the consultation process that was set in the community plan before they move forward.
There's significant consultation that's taken place on this already with the rezoning from R2 to R10. And unfortunately, contrary to some of my colleagues up here, I mean, I have to admit that I don't agree with that. I mean, the infrastructure is planned in that area. And personally, I believe that the development permits are what pays for this infrastructure. We talk about control of our taxes. In placing these infrastructures, that's an example of where we have to go back to the trough and raise more capital and taxes to pay for these type of developments without infrastructure.
Consultation processes are absolutely important here. I would like to know, with the ecological concerns, what kind of a footprint would this rezoning bring? We're all about green space preservation and enhancement in accordance to the strategic plan update. So I would really like to see that being upheld. Thank you.
I too was invited to the meeting on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to getting more information. I do understand that it's been turned down once already, and that now it's in stage 4, I was told, of the community, basically letting the community know informally what the developer is planning. And it's an ecologically sensitive area with steep slope. As I learn, and steep slope is actually not a place where you want to be building at all.
Lindley Valley is our Stanley Park. And you want to put 200 condominiums, it'd be like putting 200 condominiums beside Siwash Rock. It's not going to happen. We need to reject the developer's application. We need to work with the citizens of Nanaimo to develop a comprehensive plan for Lindley Valley and the surrounding neighborhoods, and the Hidden Ridge, and add the Hidden Ridge to the existing park.
I've been involved in this for the last couple of days, and I will be at that meeting on Thursday night. Folks, this is wrong. If I'm elected to council, I will vote against that rezoning, plain and simple. This is a developer coming into our town, taking advantage of inflated prices in our town and invoking the greed factor. It's got to stop. And we have a person here tonight that's fully in support of development and developers. That's not me. I'm saying no to this proposal.
For question number 7, as we've gone through the order now, we'll begin with Brunie as our first, and then we'll go down through the even numbers that way. Question 7. What effect do you believe that the proposed foot ferry to downtown Vancouver will have on housing affordability in Nanaimo, including rentals?
Housing affordability, well, we really, really have to work on that. I don't know if the foot passenger is going to do it, but I believe that Nanaimo can be a leader in affordable, cooperative home ownership projects, incorporating young people and seniors. When I'm a real old lady, I don't want to be in a place where I see nothing but old people, young people, children. We can do it.
I think that the foot ferry would be an incredible opportunity for young people who don't have the option to live in Vancouver to find a place in Nanaimo to live and work. But we need to make sure that affordability is happening first for the citizens of our community so that we can, if we're going to bring more people in through this foot ferry, we need to make sure that the city is affordable for us first.
Thank you. I'm looking forward today, the RFP for the affordable housing strategy in Nanaimo closed. So I'm looking forward to reading this report because I need to get caught up to speed on affordable housing because we talk about lots of different areas of affordable housing. A fast ferry to downtown, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see this. I think what will happen is commute people back and forth between Nanaimo and Vancouver, and if it means jobs that are there that our kids can go and get and come back, then I support that.
You've got a lot of work. Oh, it's you. Sorry.
I think a fast ferry for downtown will carry a lot of benefits to Nanaimo. If there are people commuting to downtown Vancouver, they're going to earn their money in Vancouver and they're going to spend it here. But we have to be alive to the downside to this, and that is going to be an increase in housing costs. We have to get on top of this now. We need an affordable housing strategy in place now so that we can adjust and deal with the problem as it grows with the fast ferries.
I think a foot ferry is an excellent opportunity for Nanaimo, for commuting back and forth to Vancouver, for a lifestyle. It brings a great element to our community. Personally, I think we got a lot of work to do on affordable housing, but again, I don't believe that a foot ferry is going to impact our housing costs in Nanaimo. I think that it's a benefit. I think it brings a lifestyle, but I don't believe in any way that it's going to affect our affordable housing.
I believe that having a foot ferry is going to bring a more diverse and a better economic increase into Nanaimo. I also do believe that it will allow our individuals, our youth, whatever aspect of citizens are going to be going into Vancouver, it will help. As far as affordable housing, I do believe that we absolutely have to have a strategic plan in place regarding that, and I look forward to reading the review on that tonight. Thank you.
I believe that affordable housing is something that folks need in Nanaimo, and I think we need to consult with the community before moving forward. I think all the things that have happened here in the city has actually showed us there is no direction. When you talk about affordable housing and yet the city sells one of their properties downtown to a condominium developer, there's a disconnect, folks. And we need to hear from the public about how we move forward.
Yeah, to reiterate from my introduction, that this is a problem that Nanaimo has been trying to solve for 20 years. And to solve, we need a housing first policy. And I don't see the linkage. I don't see the linkage between affordable housing and the foot ferry. I think they're just two different ideas. And the foot ferry is a great idea. It's going to serve the people of Nanaimo really well.
I agree that the foot ferry, the fast ferry, foot ferry would be good for Nanaimo, but I don't think that it will affect property prices as a direct result. It's in competition with helicopters, and those that will go on a daily basis will take the helicopter over just for speed. Now, as far as affordable housing goes, main plank in my platform, I've been working on it for 2 years. After the meeting's over, ask me about it, because I have been working on it for 2 years.
Well, start with, I'm not a fan of the fast ferry thing. I think it's ill-conceived and everything else. I mean, basically, you want people to live here, work in Vancouver. Why not bring their jobs over here? That way they live and they spend here. Will it drive house prices up? No doubt it will. Because you have to be rich to afford the damn ferry every day, a taxi on either side and like that. But you got to admit, rich people got to live someplace too.
Actually, I'm a supporter of the fast ferry, having used it quite often when I lived in North Van. I think when you want to use it from an economic development, as Alexis had said, I think there's a strong likelihood that will help us attract, especially when you look at tech firms, because a lot of people still want to stay connected to Vancouver, but they do want to live over here for the small town feel. And this way, we remember when we used to go on the fast ferry, they'd put on an event so you could go watch a football game and come home the same day without a hotel. So I think it benefits you that way. Would house prices go up? There's a possibility, but I don't know. Thank you.
We'll begin with Leon Cake on this round. And now we're into questions that have been submitted by those of you in attendance here tonight. City-owned facilities are too expensive for many nonprofit groups to rent. How will you ensure that nonprofit groups have access to facilities which are paid for through taxes?
Well, personally, as a person who works for nonprofit groups with Kids Sport and Street Store, I believe we should have a facility in Nanaimo that we can all use for free for nonprofit groups, big enough that we can house different events. For if there's a meeting going on for this group, then another group wants to meet, they can meet. Because it's basically always being charged to the group that's trying to raise money and save money for their charity. So yes, that's what I feel. Thank you.
I suffer from the same conflict of interest as Leon. I too work for nonprofit groups, and I know that the good that they do in the community and the collateral benefits that we all receive. I think the city has to acknowledge the benefits that we receive from the good that these people do in our community, and we need to set up basically a second-tier system for them, reduced or in some cases no rates at all for those using our facilities.
Tax-based facilities and community facilities are exactly that, the taxpayer donor, and I think that they should be utilized for everybody. The charities provide benefits to the communities, and the support is there for those charities, and I'm 100% behind providing that type of support with our assets.
I don't believe that city-owned facilities should be charging nonprofit groups, period. Nonprofit groups give an enormous amount back to community, and that's when it's the city's turn to give back to them. Thank you.
I completely agree that nonprofits should either be free or cheap for city-owned services. And I think that the larger question is how services have been cut for the last 16 years by this provincial government that's cut nonprofit funding to the point where they're impoverished. And that's a disgrace. And if the city can help, let's help.
This is another major problem in Nanaimo, and it has nothing more to, I think it has more than just the provincial government. And it should be a cost-benefit analysis to find out exactly what, how large of a discount that they should get. But they definitely should be getting, off the top of my head, they should be getting something between 33 and 50%.
As a city, one of the things that we are responsible for providing is social service to our citizens. And this means meeting facilities, recreational facilities, meeting rooms, and fields. If they're overpriced, then we need to correct the pricing. Now, I'm not saying that nonprofits should get every facility for free, because that just doesn't make sense. Each one should be treated on a specific basis. But as a whole, let's review the prices that we're charging our citizens to use our facilities. If necessary, let's bring them down.
Nonprofit organizations, recreational, we definitely need more recreational things for the youth. They stand around the streets. Nonprofit is good. But it seems like with every nonprofit organization, somebody still gets paid. That always makes me wonder. And that's about all I have to say on that subject.
I do believe we should look at nonprofits getting benefits. I think that's definitely something we need to look at. I also agree it should probably be looked on a case-by-case benefit or a situation, because it depends on what it's for, number one, the number of people that are going to be, which type of room that you're looking at. I think there's a big scenario that has to be looked at. So to come with a blanket statement that's saying that, yes, they all should get it, I'm not prepared to do that at this time. Thank you.
Once upon a time, every little place had a community hall where people could get together and talk to each other. It's a really important community thing to do. And it's a crying shame that a city like Nanaimo doesn't have one. And as your counselor, I will do everything I possibly can to rectify that.
I think that Noah made a great point that a lot of the pressure on nonprofit groups to provide these social services has been downloaded from the province. And so I think that there are an incredible number of groups that are providing services that the province should be providing. And so until we can get those back up and running, we should be doing everything we can to support the groups that are supporting us.
This will be our final question for the evening before we have our concluding remarks. We'll begin this round with Jim Mercier. Would you support adding more RCMP and bylaw officers to help with the ongoing and growing problem with drug use, needles, and bad behavior in the downtown?
This is something our community has been demanding for a long time. It's something that's been on the agenda as part of the core review, and it's something that has to be supported. It has to be funded. We've gone way too long without the proper infrastructure for our police, our Hammond Bay Fire Department. These are critical to a community. They're critical to the lifestyle downtown and supporting that community downtown. Absolutely behind that sort of infrastructure development.
I do believe that having additional RCMP is important. I also believe that taking a look at the fiscal review and finding out what we can allocate to those particular expenditures is important. But yes, I absolutely believe that we do need to have more RCMP. I don't know exactly how many that would look like until we would have a fiscal review and just get an idea of what we have available. But it is needed. Thank you.
I would say as a short-term stopgap measure, additional policing or bylaw enforcement may be helpful. But research suggests with folks that are suffering mental health and addictions, brain injuries, homelessness, all of these behaviors you speak to, if you give these folks a home, this stuff declines. So these issues are all intertwined. And this is why we as a community need to embrace the research and change.
I agree exactly with what Noah said, but Nanaimo is a growing city, and it's growing really fast. And because of that, we are going to be needing more policemen and police persons anyways. Just on the simple fact of that we're growing. So it's not a short gap situation. This is a long-term solution.
Yes, for a little bit of immediate relief from the problem that we have in our downtown core, I would favor employing more police officers and as well working with the provincial government to supply street social workers to go along with the police officers. But this is a very complex problem, extremely complex, and Noah hit the ball on the head. I have a history with addictions and raising money for treatment facilities and so on. The answer is a long-term answer. The new provincial government has promised to come up with a strategy. I say let's cooperate with them and then we can solve the problem.
Law enforcement? Yes, we definitely need more. Personally, I believe the city of Nanaimo should have its own police force. We control. We have to get rid of the bad, and the only way to do that is by doing it here locally. The RCMP, I believe in them, but we'd have to have our own city police force, in my opinion anyway. Each to their own.
I'm at a bit of an advantage here. What people don't understand is you could give the RCMP 10 more members, but you can't tell them where to put them. So it's going to come down to the conversations you have with your chief of police, that being the superintendent here, and exactly where they're going to put those bodies because they may be needed someplace else, contrary to popular belief. Secondly, you have to look at the big picture on that. We had the situation working very well in around 2010, 2011, and then the city withdrew the services of a lot of people, and you need prevention. Costs money.
Personally, I don't really like to see our downtown being walked around with people wearing guns. It kind of reminds me of Gestapo Germany. And you know, I think as a community we can get together and find a better, more humane way. I believe there is places like in Britain, they have a special force, security force downtown, and they don't wear guns. Guns produce aggression and they kill.
At a recent council meeting, the RCMP provided their annual report, and a quote that stood out for me from one of the officers was that we can't arrest our way out of homelessness. I think that it's incredibly important to have enforcement, whether it's private security, which downtown business owners have said have improved the downtown core, or RCMP, but I think that we need to have an integrated approach that includes housing.
Thank you. I'm really torn with this one. As a person who works at the 710, I see a lot of the people that are there downtown. There's definitely a difference between mental health and drug-addicted people. There's a bit of a violent tendency downtown. That's what we have to look at. People are afraid to go downtown because they don't know sometimes what to expect. Putting more RCMP down there, I really believe that we have to lobby the government for more funding for mental health to try to help them rather than just chase them and make them move around and around and around. Thank you.
Yes, I do absolutely support this. All parties to the table have agreed to the need for an increase in staffing and manpower. Personally, I believe the voters of Nanaimo are sophisticated enough to understand that this is a staffing and manpower issue, and that this is in no way going to address our homeless issue or the fentanyl crisis, and that those are going to require separate solutions.
That'll conclude the question portion of the evening. We'll now head into closing remarks from the candidates. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to share their closing thoughts on the evening. We'll begin at the far end of the table and then work our way back up to this end. Al?
Number one here, and I actually understood what Kevin said. So, closing. Well, it's been fun. I thank you all for coming out here. Sometimes I think we should have had a little bit more time to do a little talking, but that's beside the point. This is a great city. It can work well. Hopefully, you're going to pick one of us fine species of humanity or whatever you want to call it. One of us will do the job for you. Have faith, folks. Thank you.
Well, folks, to tell you the truth, I wish this was 2018 and we could elect everybody up here, but we can't. So when you go to the polls on July the 8th, you're going to have to select the person that you best feel is qualified to do the job right now. And I'm offering you the fact that I have been on council. I'm the only candidate that has actually been on a council. I have negotiated with senior levels of government. I was an advisor to cabinet ministers. I bring experience to the table on your behalf, and I'm there on your behalf. Not on my behalf. I'm running because you asked me to run. So now I'm asking you on July the 8th, when you fill out that form, and vote for the one person that you'd like to hire for the job, vote for Kevin Storrie. Thank you.
For the past 35 years, I have developed the following key skills: team player, collaboration, advocate, liaison, and empathetic listener. In the three helping professions of teacher for 15 years, foster care for 10 years, and community support worker for 10 years. For the next 35 years, I would like to develop a sustainable, prosperous Nanaimo for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Before that can be achieved, we have to solve two major social problems: affordable housing and the fentanyl crisis. I believe that my experience as a teacher, counselor, school trustee, foster carer, and community support worker over the past 35 years will enable me to help the mayor and council with more affordable housing solutions. To conclude, on July 8th, I ask you to vote for the 9th person on the ballot, Fred Statham.
Hello, my name's Noah Routley. For the last 3 years, I've had expertise on a board, and I've had a lot of good on-the-job training as far as listening to somebody else, not agreeing with them, and not responding with anything but respect. So what you get from me is a respectful counselor. I'm open-minded in that I want to actually hear from the community. I want to make some concrete changes to our surveys and our open meetings so that I am there to listen. I believe this is our Nanaimo. I believe we have a lot of amazing input just within this room, but also within the entire city. And if I hear from you, I can implement your future.
Our city recently overwhelmingly expressed concern about our democratic foundation with City Council. This action was the motivation for me to be on this stage tonight. I am confidently able to be your new voice on City Council. I will advocate for economic development and entrepreneurship with a conscious effort to support increased green space and affordable housing for our young families. I will support the community strategy and planned initiatives that promote Nanaimo as a destination city that resonates cultural vitality. I will represent Nanaimo with grace and courage while listening to what you have to say. And let it be understood, it is your voice that matters and your choice that makes our community stronger. Thank you.
I'd like to start off by saying there's so many good people, so many good candidates running in this by-election. I'm not going to be the one that promises a rosy solution to a situation that's been at best challenging for a long time. More of the current council's actions need to be challenged in an effort to get us focused on moving Nanaimo forward and less focused on squabbling and infighting within council. I won't stand here and promise answers for affordable housing or a cure for homelessness, a fentanyl crisis solution, or major policy making unless we get City Council down to the business of governing Nanaimo. This city isn't a business, but it requires some business sense to run it. Community shareholders in Nanaimo elected our City Council to perform in a professional manner with expectations to provide fruitful, fulsome debate and then to deliver knowledgeable and fair-minded decisions. That's the unique quality that I want to bring to this job.
I believe that it's time that we bring some competent professionalism to City Hall. We need a city councillor that's going to act in the way that the Nanaimo expects its city councillors to behave. We need somebody who's capable of bringing forward your views by reading and understanding the legislation and understanding how it affects you, the voters. We need somebody who's not afraid to flex their legislative powers and bring forward issues themselves on issues that affect the voters. We need somebody who understands the process in a way that we expect our councillors to understand. I think this by-election is an opportunity for us to send a message to City Hall on what we expect from our city councillors, and I think I am the councillor to send them that message.
Thank you. July 8th was a big decision for everyone in this room. It was an easy decision for me to run for this city because I've been in it for 60 years. Same compassion every day of my life. Get up in the morning, care about people, care about what's going on. So a vote for me is going to be the same vote that you would give me on July 9th. I'll be out in the community, whether I'm elected or not, doing the same thing I do now and probably to the day I die. I love Nanaimo. I love the citizens. I want to represent them. And I really want to bring us forward. I think really about our council, it's coming forward, bringing it forward. Let's get some movement and go forward. Thank you. And I'd like to plug Kids Sport because I know this isn't proper, but August 19th, Thrifty Food Stores is going to support my Kids Sport with donations. So if you're shopping on August 19th, could you please shop at Thrifty's? They're going to support Kids Sport, and I appreciate that. And I do this every time I get a chance. Thank you.
All right, I would like to thank the Chamber and especially all of you for coming out tonight. We wouldn't have such thoughtful discussion if you hadn't submitted your questions. So thank you so much for putting those forward. And thank you all, to all of the candidates for all of your colorful and interesting answers. I have definitely learned a lot tonight, and I hope you have too. and I look forward to stepping forward as an elected official to bring a thoughtful, critical, and hopeful perspective to council. Thank you.
People of Nanaimo, the city belongs to you, and you have a big voice should you care to exercise it. And as your councillor, I want to hear what you have to say. We breathe the same air, we drink the same water, we're a community. And it's time to grow food big time because, well, it's the most important economic development we can do. Yes, and you know what? Being a councillor actually is a part-time job. But I will probably be working full-time, putting my money where my mouth is. And I'll be looking to hear from you, your ideas, your smart thinking, and together we can do it. We can rock this town.
15 months is not a long time to make a lot of promises. What I will promise you is that I will do my due diligence. I will try and bring governance back to City Council. I think that's a very important start because without proper governance, you can't move forward. We need to have camera meetings, not in-camera meetings. That's very important to me. We need to make sure that the citizens know what the issues are facing Nanaimo, and there's ways of doing that through social media, through the city website, so that when it comes time to election, you know what you're voting on. What are the issues? Where are we going with these? I think it's very important that my 35 years as a police officer has prepared me for this job. I've dealt with people from on the streets to high businessmen. I've worked with all levels of government, federal, provincial, municipal. I've dealt with them well. I believe that I will always be prepared, and you know, people laughed when I made the correlation to a major crime. If I went into court unprepared and a murderer walked, how would I feel? So I take that very seriously. My responsibility to the citizens, if elected, that I will be prepared. Thank you.